So after you master Army 6.8, there's actually a huge number of 6.8 tunes that you can learn fairly quickly. The nice thing about 6.8 is that it all pretty much follows that same core pattern, that 7 flam flam, 7 flam flam, 7 left right flam accent flam flam flam. That basic pattern is sort of repeated, and there's just sort of minor modifications made to it in the vast majority of these popular 6.8 tunes. So one of the easiest ones, I think, the closest tune to Army 6.8 is actually Battle Hymn of the Republic. And there's really just two sort of major modifications that are made. So the first big one, it changes, instead of playing the 7 flam flam, 7 flam flam, 7 left right flam accent flam flam flam, the beginning becomes 5 7-stroke rolls. So it's 7 7 7 7 7. And then it still does the left right flam accent flam, but then instead of that final flam flam, there's a full beat of rest. So it sounds 7 7 7 7 7 left right flam accent flam pause. Two things to point out: when we do a series of 7s, there's always that little bit of pause between each of them, even as you get faster. And that's just to help differentiate each note. It gives more accents, the final stroke of the 7-stroke roll, and it also just sort of pushes you to play them a little bit faster and a little bit cleaner. So that's something to always be aware of as you're playing those strings of 7s. And the other thing is just to be very conscious of that pause. So a lot of people, when they first start playing this phrase, they're just so used to that flam, 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 that they're chronically messing up that little spot. So let's just try this together. 5 7s, left, right, flam, accent, flam, pause. And we'll play a couple in a row. 1, 2. Pause. Two more. Last one. So that's the big change from Army 6.8. There's a second sort of smaller change, just like 6.8, Army 6.8. In the second half of the Battle Hymn, it also uses that 15-stroke roll pattern, but instead of the flam flam 15, it's actually pause flam. So you just remove that first flam, but there's a half a beat of pause. So it basically sounds pause flam 15, left right flam accent flam flam flam, pause flam, pause flam. Alright, so let's just try playing that a few times. Same idea, same pattern as you learned in Army 6.8, just without that first flam. And we're going to play that a couple times in a row. 1, 2. Accent flam, 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 pause flam. Two more. Last one. Yeah, so that just takes a little bit of getting used to. You know, it's the exact same pattern that you've already learned for Army 6.8, but now it's just got that little bit of change to it. If it helps, you can think about it as that the one flam that you do play is actually on the downbeat. It's right as your foot hits the ground when you're marching. You know, and another thing you can do when you're playing that is to sort of accent it, to actually play that flam louder as a way of sort of you know, just helping you remember that there should only be one flam. So it would sound like. And so on. And so those are the only two changes. So the first line of Battle Hymn is, instead of being 4 of the 6.8 patterns, it's 3 of them, and then that 5 5 5 5 left right flam accent flam. And then in the second line, it's the same concept. It's 3 of the 15 stroke roll patterns with that, the 1 flam instead of the 2, and then it ends with the 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 left, right, flam, accent, flam. All right, so let's just try that. In the ending pattern, pause, flam, seven, seven. A lot of chords will play this particular beating, but they'll also make their own little modifications. Some chords will have the very, very last phrase. They'll just sort of make it a little more ornate or complicated. Some bands will keep the 2 flams before the 15. Personally, I think it sounds better and it's a little more interesting without the 2 flams, but you can keep them in. Other bands will play it the way we just did it the first time through, and the second time through, they'll do some things with dynamics. So they'll make the first line, the first part softer, play the second part louder, and a lot of times when they do it that way, the first time they play it with the 1 flam before the 15, the second time through they play it with the 2 flams. So there's a lot of different ways you can just kind of make small modifications to make it more interesting. But I would say that's sort of the underlying, the way most bands will play, sort of the main way of doing it. So it's a good place to start, and it's a very effective beating. So there's another video that just has the beating of Battle Hymn played a little bit faster at full speed, so you can practice along with that.